For centuries, the Olmec civilization stood as the towering mystery of ancient Mesoamerica. Imagine a culture whose influence shaped everything that came after it: the Maya, the Aztecs, even the ancient civilizations that came before them. Yet, despite their profound impact on history, the Olmecs have somehow slipped into the shadows. Their names, their legacies, are barely whispered in the halls of modern-day history. But why? How could such a civilization, so rich in culture and achievement, simply fade into nothingness? The answer isn't as simple as time erasing their memory. The Olmecs were the first great civilization to rise in the dense jungles of what is now southern Mexico, around 3,500 years ago. Long before the grand pyramids of Egypt or the temples of Mesopotamia, the Olmecs were creating monumental art, mastering intricate sculptures, and mapping the stars with a precision that would astonish modern astronomers. They were not just builders, they were thinkers, inventors, and pioneers, establishing the foundations of everything that came after in Mesoamerica. Yet, their accomplishments have been oddly overlooked in mainstream history. Historians today often relegate the Olmecs to mere footnotes, dismissing them as little more than the predecessors to other civilizations like the Maya and Aztecs. But the evidence of their greatness is undeniable. The colossal stone heads they left behind are a testament to their remarkable artistry and craftsmanship. These massive statues, some weighing as much as 40 tons, are not just relics of an ancient culture. They are silent witnesses to a civilization whose contributions to art, religion, and even governance remain shockingly underappreciated. So what happened to the Olmecs? Why has history erased them? Some believe it was the simple passage of time that buried their memory. After all, ancient civilizations often fade, their records lost to the relentless march of centuries. But there is something more at play here. The Olmecs were not just forgotten, they were silenced. And the truth of their disappearance lies not just in the sands of time, but in the very pages of history that have failed to record their story properly. This deep silence surrounding the Olmecs isn't just the result of fading records. It's as if someone, or something, has deliberately ignored their place in the timeline of human history. Why would such a profound culture, brimming with knowledge and advancements, be treated as a mere precursor to the more famous civilizations that followed? The question lingers in the air, like an unopened letter left for too long on the doorstep of time. Was it the power structures of later civilizations who deliberately distanced themselves from their Olmec ancestors? Or were the Olmecs truly as mysterious as they seemed, lost to history in ways we still don't understand? As we delve deeper into the world of the Olmecs, we begin to uncover more than just the remnants of their civilization. What we uncover may not just change how we view their legacy, but how we view history itself. The Olmecs weren't just a forgotten culture. They may have been the first to hold secrets that were too powerful to remain known. What those secrets are, and why they've been suppressed, may very well be the key to understanding why their memory has been lost to us. The mystery of the Olmecs is far from over. In fact, it is only just beginning to unfold. And with every step we take into their world, the question becomes clearer. What were they hiding, and why have we been kept in the dark for so long? As we explore these ancient secrets, we'll begin to see a story that goes far beyond what we've been told. And perhaps, just perhaps, the truth of the Olmecs will help us understand a much bigger mystery, one that has been hidden in plain sight, waiting to be discovered. The Olmecs were more than just a society. They were the architects of Mesoamerica itself. To understand them is to step back into a world that may feel both familiar and otherworldly, where the foundations of art, architecture, and even written language were born. Their civilization flourished around 3,500 years ago in what is now southern Mexico, in the lowland tropical regions of Veracruz and Tabasco. These lands were home to vast jungles, rivers, and fertile plains, and it was here that the Olmecs began crafting one of the most mysterious and powerful cultures of the ancient world. But who were these enigmatic people? The Olmecs were a complex society that laid the groundwork for future Mesoamerican cultures, like the Maya and the Aztecs. They didn't just build pyramids or craft intricate stone carvings. They developed systems of writing, art, and mathematics that would influence generations to come. Their people were farmers, artists, and traders, shaping not only their environment but the very culture of the land for centuries. The significance of the Olmecs cannot be overstated. They were the first to create monumental stone statues, the famed colossal heads, and they pioneered architectural styles that would be emulated by those who came after them. They had an advanced understanding of astronomy, engineering, and even trade routes that stretched across vast distances. And yet, despite all they achieved, much of their society remains a mystery. As we uncover their influence, we'll begin to grasp just how foundational the Olmecs were to Mesoamerican civilization. But even as we learn more, we're left wondering, what did they know that others did? How did they shape the course of history? And why did their story fade into obscurity? When we think of the Olmecs, the first image that comes to mind is often their colossal stone heads, massive, awe-inspiring sculptures that seem to defy both the laws of time and imagination. These towering works of art, some weighing as much as 40 tons, stand as silent sentinels to the lost civilization. But what purpose did they serve? And how did the Olmecs manage to create such masterpieces with the limited tools they had? The heads, which are believed to represent powerful rulers, have intrigued historians and archaeologists alike. Scattered across Olmec sites like San Lorenzo and La Venta, these stone figures appear to have been crafted with extraordinary precision. Their expressions are stoic, their features highly detailed. Each face seems almost to hold a story of its own, one lost to time. These heads are not merely decorations. They are profound statements of power, religion, and identity, perhaps depicting the most influential figures in Olmec society. The very act of creating such immense sculptures raises questions about the capabilities of the Olmec people. How were they able to transport these massive stones, some of which were carved from distant volcanic rock? How did they possess the knowledge and tools to carve such intricate faces with only rudimentary tools? Could they have had knowledge that has since been lost? Could the answers lie in the very stones themselves, waiting to be rediscovered? These heads not only serve as cultural artifacts, they are symbols of a civilization whose influence stretched far beyond their time. And as we examine them more closely, we begin to question, what do they truly represent? And what knowledge did the Olmecs possess that allowed them to achieve such feats of artistry and engineering? Despite the grandeur of their creations, the Olmecs have remained curiously absent from mainstream historical narratives. Their civilization was at one point one of the most influential in the Americas, yet it has been largely relegated to the margins of history. How is it possible that such a monumental culture, whose influence can still be felt in modern Mesoamerican societies, could have been erased from the historical record? The silence surrounding the Olmecs is not simply a result of the passage of time. Many believe their erasure was deliberate. Mainstream historians and archaeologists have long been hesitant to acknowledge the Olmecs as the cultural pioneers they truly were. Their advanced knowledge, art, and technologies were suppressed, overshadowed by the grandeur of later civilizations like the Maya and the Aztecs. Some suggest that this deliberate silence was the result of a desire to distance later cultures from the perceived, primitive origins of their societies. After all, the Olmecs didn't possess written records in the way later cultures did, so their achievements were often dismissed as mere precursors to greater civilizations. But was it possible that their knowledge and power were too dangerous to acknowledge? Could there have been forces at work, perhaps even outside of the Mesoamerican world, that sought to obscure the true significance of the Olmecs? What we know of the Olmecs is often told through the lens of later civilizations, an interpretation that may not fully capture the depth and breadth of their influence. Yet, the mystery of their erasure only deepens the more we explore. What truths have been hidden? What has been lost in the silence of history? waiting to be unearthed. The rise of the Olmec civilization was swift, mysterious, and nothing short of extraordinary. From their humble beginnings in the tropical lowlands of southern Mexico, they quickly developed into one of the most powerful and influential cultures of the ancient world. But what fueled their rapid ascent? How did a civilization that began as a small, agricultural society rise to dominate the region and leave such a profound mark on history? One key to their success lies in their ability to harness their environment. The Olmecs were skilled engineers, able to manage the challenges of their lush, flood-prone land and turn it into a thriving civilization. Their expertise in agriculture, particularly with crops like maize, allowed them to support large urban centers and sustain a complex social structure. These advancements in agriculture gave them the foundation to build a flourishing society. But it wasn't just agriculture that propelled the Olmecs to power. They were brilliant traders, establishing vast networks that reached far beyond their homeland. They exchanged goods, ideas, and knowledge with neighboring civilizations, spreading their influence and cementing their place as cultural pioneers. The Olmecs were also exceptional artists, creating intricate jade sculptures, pottery, and carvings that would inspire future generations. As we explore their rise, we begin to see how the Olmecs became the first true civilization in Mesoamerica. Their innovations in governance, religion, and technology laid the groundwork for the Maya, the Aztecs, and even other cultures that would follow. Yet, their story, so rich with potential and influence, remains shrouded in mystery. What secrets did the Olmecs take with them as they rose to power? And ultimately, as they disappeared? Among the dense jungles and sprawling river valleys of Olmec lands, the elite rulers held knowledge that may have been far beyond what we typically associate with ancient civilizations. While much of what the Olmecs left behind is silent stone, subtle clues suggest that these leaders understood patterns and truths that were carefully guarded from the masses. They weren't simply kings or priests. They were custodians of hidden wisdom, possibly in the realms of astronomy, mathematics, and spirituality. Some artifacts hint at this deeper knowledge. Jade figurines, complex carvings, and the precise alignment of structures all suggest an understanding of the cosmos that seems almost prophetic. Scholars have noted that Olmec sites often align with celestial phenomena, the solstices, lunar cycles, and perhaps even the positions of planets. Could the elite have been using this knowledge to guide their people, to maintain power, or even to predict events beyond human control? There's a strange allure in imagining that these rulers knew things lost to time. Perhaps they held insights into the natural world that were deliberately erased or forgotten after their collapse. Perhaps their forbidden knowledge wasn't dangerous in the modern sense, but in a world that feared mystery, their wisdom may have been seen as something to suppress. For us today, it serves as a tantalizing glimpse of what humanity once knew, and a reminder that the past may hold answers we have yet to uncover. The Olmec's secrets were not only encoded in their art and architecture, they may have shaped the very way they lived, how they ruled, and why their civilization rose so quickly. And as we explore their disappearance, the question lingers: what knowledge vanished with them, and what might we discover if we look closely enough? After centuries of thriving, the Olmec civilization seemed to vanish almost overnight. Their great cities, once bustling with trade, ritual, and artistry, were abandoned, leaving behind monumental statues and pyramids as silent witnesses to their passing. What could have caused such a sudden collapse? Scholars have offered several explanations, but none provide a complete answer. Some argue that environmental factors played a role. The Olmec heartlands were prone to flooding and volcanic activity, which could have destabilized agriculture and forced the population to disperse. Others suggest social or political strife, perhaps internal conflict among elites, or the breakdown of trade networks weakened the civilization from within. And yet, neither of these explanations fully captures the eerie abruptness of their disappearance. Then there are the darker theories. Could the Olmecs have fallen victim to an outside force, some invader or catastrophe that left little trace behind? Or might there have been knowledge or power so profound that it was deliberately hidden as the civilization crumbled? The mystery deepens when we consider how thoroughly the Olmecs were erased from history, while their monuments remain. The story of the people who built them has been largely obscured. In their disappearance, the Olmecs left behind more questions than answers. The abrupt end of such a powerful culture challenges our assumptions about history, survival, and human ingenuity. It forces us to consider that perhaps we only know a fraction of what actually happened, and that the real story may lie buried, waiting to be uncovered. One of the most provocative theories surrounding the Olmecs is the idea that they may have had contact with beings from beyond Earth. It's easy to dismiss these claims as speculative, yet certain aspects of Olmec culture are undeniably puzzling. How could a civilization, thousands of years ago, carve colossal stone heads with such precision, transport massive stones across difficult terrain, and develop astronomical knowledge that rivals what much later civilizations achieved? Some theorists suggest that the Olmecs may have received guidance from extraterrestrial visitors, knowledge that allowed them to build their monuments, understand the stars, and craft symbols that baffle modern scholars. Even the elongated heads and unusual features in Olmec art have been interpreted as evidence of contact with beings not of this world. Whether true or not, the theory is compelling because it forces us to question what we think we know about human history. Could humanity have had help from outside forces, shaping our early civilizations in ways we can barely comprehend? And if so, what happened to that knowledge once the Olmecs vanished? The possibility is both thrilling and unsettling, leaving us with a sense that the Olmecs may have been guardians of secrets too extraordinary for their time. History, as it is often presented, is rarely the full story. The case of the Olmecs demonstrates this in stark relief. Despite their undeniable achievements, the Olmecs have been systematically underrepresented in textbooks, documentaries, and academic research. Some historians argue this is mere oversight, but a closer look suggests there may be deliberate forces at work. Certain archaeological findings have been downplayed or dismissed, especially those that challenge the conventional timeline of Mesoamerican development. Monuments, inscriptions, and artifacts that indicate advanced knowledge are often ignored, attributed to later influences, or simply labeled as anomalies. Meanwhile, sensational claims, such as possible extraterrestrial contact or forbidden knowledge, are ridiculed, effectively discouraging further investigation. The result is a sanitized version of history, one that allows modern scholars to focus on more palatable civilizations while leaving the Olmecs in obscurity. But the truth is, the Olmecs were pioneers, innovators, and possibly even custodians of knowledge that stretched far beyond what we can easily explain. Their story has been suppressed, intentionally or not, and what survives is only a fragment of their legacy. Exploring these hidden truths forces us to confront the uncomfortable idea that history may not be entirely neutral. There are gaps, omissions, and mysteries that mainstream archaeology has not fully addressed. By peering into these gaps, we begin to uncover a more complex and fascinating picture of the Olmecs, one that invites both curiosity and caution. Despite the centuries of silence, the Olmecs have never truly disappeared. Their colossal heads, mysterious sculptures, and sprawling ruins are constant reminders of a civilization that shaped the course of history long before the Maya or the Aztecs. They may have been lost to the written record, but they remain present in the echoes of Mesoamerican culture and in the questions they leave behind. The mystery of the Olmecs is not just about what they built or created, it is about what they knew and what was lost with them. Every artifact, every monument, every enigmatic symbol is a whisper from the past, hinting at a story more extraordinary than most of us realize. They remind us that history is never as simple as it seems, and that sometimes the most profound truths are hidden in plain sight. As we close this chapter, we carry with us a sense of anticipation. The Olmecs are not gone. They are waiting to be rediscovered, their secrets waiting to be unlocked. And as we continue our journey, we will follow the trail of their artifacts, their symbols, and their knowledge, uncovering mysteries that may redefine what we thought we knew about humanity's earliest civilizations. In the thick, humid jungles of Veracruz and Tabasco, something remarkable was waiting to be discovered. For centuries, the colossal stone heads of the Olmecs lay hidden beneath layers of soil and vegetation, silent witnesses to a civilization that had vanished almost without a trace. When explorers and archaeologists first stumbled upon them in the late 19th and early 20th centuries, they were met with awe, confusion, and a growing sense of wonder. What could explain these massive carvings, each one weighing several tons, and their strikingly human yet enigmatic features? These heads are not just statues, they are monuments that defy expectation. Some stand more than 3 meters tall, their carefully sculpted faces starring with a quiet intensity that seems almost alive. The sheer scale of the work raises immediate questions. How did the Olmecs quarry, transport, and carve these enormous stones without modern tools? The answers remain elusive, and this mystery is part of what makes the discovery so compelling. The first documented finds were met with both skepticism and fascination. Archaeologists like Matthew Stirling began careful excavations in the 1930s, uncovering heads at San Lorenzo and La Venta that would forever change the understanding of Mesoamerican history. Each head is unique, with distinct facial features that some scholars suggest represent actual rulers, while others see them as symbolic representations of divine authority. The precision of these carvings indicates a mastery of stonework that seems almost impossible for a civilization often described as prehistoric. As news of the discoveries spread, the colossal heads sparked both academic debate and popular imagination. They challenged the prevailing narrative that the Olmecs were a minor, insignificant people, and suggested instead that they had been sophisticated, organized, and culturally rich. For the first time, the world began to glimpse the reach and ingenuity of a civilization that had been largely erased from history. Yet even today, much about the heads remains mysterious. Their placement, the techniques used to carve them, and the purpose behind their creation continue to provoke questions. Some theorists have suggested that they encode astronomical or spiritual knowledge, while others propose more fantastical ideas, hinting at lost technologies or even extraterrestrial guidance. These debates, whether grounded in archaeology or speculation, only deepen the sense of awe surrounding the Olmecs and their enduring legacy. The discovery of the colossal heads is more than an archaeological milestone. It is a portal to a forgotten world. Each head, with its massive presence and enigmatic expression, invites us to imagine a society that flourished long before modern history took shape. They are monuments not only of stone, but of memory, curiosity, and the tantalizing mysteries that lie just beyond our understanding. And as we follow the Olmec Trail further, these heads serve as the first markers on a journey into a civilization lost, yet whispering across the centuries. Walking through the remnants of Olmec sites, one cannot help but be struck by the artistry that surrounds them. From jade figurines smaller than a fist to monumental sculptures, every piece carries a sense of purpose and meaning that reaches far beyond mere decoration. The Olmecs were not just skilled artisans, they were storytellers, embedding symbols, myths, and perhaps even secret knowledge into every curve and line. Many of their artifacts are mysterious, even cryptic. Jade, for instance, was more than a precious material. It was a symbol of life, fertility, and spiritual power. Sculptures of jaguars, serpents, and humans with animal features suggest a belief system in which the natural and the supernatural were deeply intertwined. Each figurine, mask, or carving seems to hint at a narrative we can only partially glimpse, as if the Olmecs left us fragments of a story deliberately coded in stone and jade. Even their monumental works, like the colossal heads, carry symbolic weight. The meticulous attention to facial features, headdresses, and expressions may reflect status, divinity, or cosmic alignment. Scholars have noted that certain motifs repeat across sites, suggesting a shared visual language or spiritual framework. Could these patterns have been a way to transmit knowledge across generations, even as the civilization itself eventually faded? As we look closer, the art reveals a civilization that was not only advanced but deeply reflective, pondering existence, power, and the unseen forces that govern the world. Every carving, every jade mask, every intricate sculpture is an invitation to wonder, to question, and to imagine the knowledge and beliefs that once shaped a people whose echoes still linger. The Olmec's art is a silent conversation with us across the centuries, a subtle, calming whisper that asks, what do we truly know about those who came before us, and what secrets remain waiting to be understood? The jaguar prowled silently through the lush Mesoamerican jungles, its presence both feared and revered. For the Olmecs, this magnificent predator was more than a creature of flesh and blood. It was a symbol of power, mystery, and spiritual connection. Throughout their art, the jaguar appears again and again, in carved figurines, masks, and even in human-animal hybrids that blur the lines between man and beast. To the Olmecs, the jaguar embodied strength and authority, a creature that could traverse the boundaries between the natural and the supernatural. Its nocturnal nature and glowing eyes may have inspired myths of night spirits and deities, giving the Olmecs a lens through which to interpret the unseen forces that shaped their world. In many ways, the jaguar represented a bridge, connecting the earthly realm to the divine, the visible to the invisible. Yet the symbolism goes even deeper. Some scholars suggest that the jaguar motif encoded esoteric knowledge, linking rulership, fertility, and cosmic cycles. The jaguar's dominance in the wild could be seen as a metaphor for the Olmec elite's control over society, their spiritual authority legitimized through nature itself. Others speculate that these images were part of ceremonial rites, where shamans or leaders donned jaguar masks to channel the animal's power, moving between the realms of the living and the dead. As we trace the jaguar through Olmec culture, it becomes clear that these creatures were more than decorative. They were central to the Olmec's worldview, recurring symbols that invite us to explore the hidden layers of meaning beneath their civilization's achievements. By studying the jaguar, we begin to sense the rhythm of Olmec life, their reverence for power, and the mysteries they held close to their hearts. In every carved jaw and sculpted paw, we find a civilization that spoke to forces beyond our understanding, leaving hints of wisdom encoded in art, waiting for centuries to be rediscovered. The jaguar is not just a motif, it is a whisper from the past, inviting us deeper into the Olmec's hidden world. Among the jungles and ruins of ancient Olmec cities, tiny markings on stone and clay hint at a form of writing long forgotten. Scholars call it the Cascajal Block script, a series of mysterious symbols that seem to predate all known writing in Mesoamerica. Could the Olmecs have been the first to put language into lasting form, leaving us a puzzle that has yet to be fully solved? The symbols are simple yet enigmatic, lines, dots, and abstract shapes that repeat across artifacts. Some appear to represent numbers or concepts, while others seem purely symbolic. While mainstream archaeology hesitates to confirm a complete writing system, the possibility remains tantalizing. If the Olmecs truly created one of the earliest scripts in the Americas, it would suggest an intellectual sophistication far beyond what is commonly acknowledged. These symbols may have been used for record-keeping, religious rites, or even to encode forbidden knowledge. They could tell the stories of rulers, battles, rituals, or celestial events. Yet, like much of Olmec culture, the writing is tantalizingly incomplete, offering glimpses but never the full narrative. It leaves us questioning, what knowledge did they preserve, and how much was lost when their civilization faded? Even in their silence, these marks speak across millennia, inviting curiosity and reflection. They remind us that history is not always written in textbooks but etched in stone, waiting for those patient enough to listen. The Olmecs may have understood the power of the written word, capturing ideas meant to transcend time. In their careful inscriptions, we find the beginnings of a conversation that still challenges our understanding of human history. Some Olmec artifacts have fascinated researchers and enthusiasts alike for generations, not just for their artistry, but for their apparent defiance of explanation. The colossal heads, with their precise features and massive size, the jade figurines with elongated skulls, and even certain geometrically precise carvings have sparked speculation. Could the Olmecs have had contact with beings from beyond our world? The theory is controversial, and mainstream archaeologists approach it cautiously, often dismissing it outright. Yet the details are hard to ignore. Transporting and carving stones weighing several tons without modern machinery suggests a level of technology or organization that challenges conventional understanding. And then there are the elongated skulls, unusual depictions of beings with large heads, eyes that seem otherworldly, and mysterious patterns in ceremonial artifacts. Could these be representations of visitors, or perhaps inspiration drawn from extraordinary experiences? Proponents of the theory point to the precision in Olmec astronomical alignments, suggesting knowledge that may have been taught or inspired by outsiders. The idea that early civilizations could have been guided, even subtly influenced, by advanced beings is not entirely new. Other cultures across the globe share similar tales. The Olmecs, with their enigmatic carvings and unexplained achievements, fit neatly into this pattern, feeding a curiosity that has endured for decades. But even if we never prove extraterrestrial involvement, the artifacts serve a different purpose. They remind us that human imagination and ingenuity can create wonders that feel impossible even today. Whether inspired by celestial visitors or the human mind itself, these objects demand attention and wonder. They force us to ask questions about what knowledge may have been lost, what truths lie hidden beneath the centuries, and how a vanished civilization could leave such enduring, mysterious marks. In the end, the Olmecs artifacts are more than relics. They are invitations to explore the unknown, whispers of secrets that challenge our understanding of history, technology, and perhaps even life beyond Earth. In the heart of Tabasco lies La Venta, one of the most important centers of the Olmec civilization. At first glance, it appears as a series of low mounds and scattered stones, quietly swallowed by the surrounding jungle. But beneath the surface lies a city carefully planned, its layout revealing sophistication that rivals much later civilizations. La Venta is famous for its colossal heads, yet these are only the beginning. The city features pyramids, plazas, and ceremonial complexes aligned with celestial patterns, suggesting an advanced understanding of astronomy and ritual. The Great Pyramid, built entirely from earth and clay, rises from the jungle like a silent sentinel, a testament to Olmec engineering and organizational skill. Archaeologists have found finely crafted jade, stone figurines, and evidence of complex social structures within La Venta, hinting at a society that valued artistry, religion, and knowledge. The city's orientation, carefully aligned with the movements of the sun and stars, suggests that the Olmecs may have been using celestial observation to govern both daily life and spiritual practice. Yet much of La Venta remains shrouded in mystery. Unlike later cities, the Olmec capital seems to have faded without leaving detailed records, its population dispersing and its knowledge largely lost. The reasons are still debated: environmental changes, internal strife, or a shift in trade routes could have caused its decline. Walking through La Venta today, one senses a city that is both alive and silent, a place where the past whispers through stone and soil. It is a reminder of a civilization that, although vanished, left behind structures that still speak of power, precision, and the mysteries of a world long hidden from modern eyes. The Olmecs may have been the first astronomers of the Americas. Their cities, pyramids, and ceremonial centers reveal alignments with celestial bodies, hinting at a people who watched the skies with the same reverence we associate with ancient civilizations like the Egyptians or Babylonians. Every observation, every pattern in their monuments, points to a sophisticated understanding of time, seasons, and cosmic cycles. At La Venta, the Great Pyramid and surrounding plazas appear to align with the solstices and equinoxes. Certain artifacts also hint at symbolic representation of celestial bodies, suggesting that Olmec priests or elites may have used the stars for rituals or to mark agricultural cycles. This knowledge was not trivial. It shaped the way society functioned, influencing planting, hunting, and spiritual ceremonies. Some carvings depict celestial phenomena, suns, stars, and even what might be eclipses. The accuracy and consistency suggest observation over generations, a careful tracking of patterns across decades or centuries. Could this knowledge have been connected to secret teachings held by the elite? Possibly, as the Olmecs seem to have linked astronomy with religion, creating a framework in which the cosmos governed both earthly and spiritual life. Their understanding of the heavens also raises questions about the transfer of knowledge. Were these insights entirely homegrown, or could they have been influenced by outside contact, as some theories suggest? Regardless of origin, the Olmecs demonstrated a mastery of observation and symbolism that would ripple through future civilizations, laying the groundwork for the calendars, pyramids, and temples of the Maya and Aztecs. The Olmecs remind us that even in silence, the night sky can speak. Their knowledge, carved into stone and aligned with the stars, beckons us to look upward, to wonder, and to realize that human curiosity has always reached beyond. The Olmecs were not merely a fleeting civilization. They were the silent architects of Mesoamerican culture. Though their cities crumbled and their written records vanished, the echoes of their innovations reverberated through time, influencing the Maya, the Zapotecs, and eventually the Aztecs. Art, religion, and governance all bear traces of Olmec ingenuity, like a faint signature hidden beneath layers of history. Take their art, for example. The stylized depictions of rulers, jaguars, and deities found in Olmec sculptures reappear centuries later in Maya codices and Aztec stone carvings. Ritual practices, too, show continuity. The use of ball courts, ceremonial plazas, and offerings reflects an inherited sacred tradition. Even political structures bear the mark of Olmec organization, hinting that early city-states borrowed not just ideas, but models of social control and hierarchy from these early pioneers. Yet the influence is often invisible, like water shaping stone over centuries. The Olmecs established the first Mesoamerican calendar, and their astronomical observations paved the way for the sophisticated timekeeping systems of later civilizations. Religious symbolism, particularly the jaguar and serpent motifs, were woven into the very fabric of spiritual belief across the region, creating a thread that links Olmec innovation to later epochs. The more we study the Olmecs, the more we realize that their disappearance was never absolute. Their civilization lives on in subtle, pervasive ways, embedded in the very essence of Mesoamerican culture. They became a foundation, quiet but enduring, reminding us that even a civilization lost to history can shape the world for centuries to come. Many of the Olmecs' greatest achievements have vanished without a trace, leaving tantalizing gaps in the historical record. Some artifacts were likely destroyed over time, victims of natural decay or looting. Others seem to have disappeared under more mysterious circumstances, as if deliberate hands sought to erase traces of a civilization that might challenge conventional narratives. Colossal heads, finely carved jade figurines, and ceremonial objects. These treasures once spoke of power, artistry, and knowledge, yet today only fragments remain. Some were taken from archaeological sites without documentation, disappearing into private collections or forgotten basements. Others were misinterpreted or dismissed, relegated to museum basements, stripped of context, their true meaning obscured. This disappearance fuels speculation. Did rivals of the Olmecs, or later civilizations seeking to suppress their influence, intentionally erase evidence of their achievements? Some suggest that colonial authorities, when they arrived centuries later, may have overlooked the sophistication of Olmec society, reducing its significance to primitive status in official records. Whatever the cause, the effect is the same. A civilization that should have been remembered in glory instead became shrouded in mystery. Each missing artifact represents not just a loss of material culture, but a gap in human knowledge. The Olmec's silence challenges us to imagine what might have been, to wonder how much wisdom, artistry, and insight vanished with the fall of their cities. And yet, the disappearance of these objects makes the surviving pieces all the more precious. They are fragments of a puzzle that, when assembled, reveal a civilization as complex and awe-inspiring as any in human history. Their absence only deepens the allure, inviting us to explore, question, and seek truths that were almost lost to time though the Olmecs themselves vanished. Their legacy endures in ways both subtle and profound. Colossal stone heads, mysterious jade figurines, and enigmatic inscriptions serve as silent messengers, whispering across millennia. They tell a story of a civilization that understood power, spirituality, and the stars in ways that continue to intrigue and mystify us. Even in their absence, the Olmecs shaped the world around them. Later civilizations, Maya, Aztec, Zapotec, built upon the foundations the Olmecs laid, from urban planning to religious symbolism and astronomical knowledge. Every temple, pyramid, and ritual reflects echoes of a culture that vanished yet refused to be forgotten entirely. The lessons of the Olmecs extend beyond material achievements. Their life and disappearance remind us that human history is never a straight line. It is full of lost knowledge, forgotten truths, and civilizations whose silence challenges our assumptions. They invite us to question what we are told about the past, to search for hidden patterns, and to consider the forces, both natural and human, that shape the fate of societies. Perhaps most compelling is the mystery itself. The Olmecs left enough for us to marvel at, yet not enough for certainty. Their world teases the imagination, leaving questions unanswered and doors unopened. It is in this space of uncertainty that curiosity thrives, a quiet urge to explore what was lost, and to wonder what secrets might still lie hidden beneath jungle canopy or beneath the layers of earth and time. In the end, the Olmecs offer a gift, a story unfinished, waiting for discovery. They are a civilization lost, yes, but never forgotten. Their artifacts, knowledge, and influence endure, inviting us to step closer, listen carefully, and perhaps uncover the truths they held so long ago.